It's somewhere near 10 o'clock. It's Thursday morning, I believe, if I'm correct, Shane. I'm not sure. I think it's Thursday. When you're retired, it's hard to know what day it is.
Yeah, every day's
You
a
know, I
Groundhog Day.
yeah, I know. Yeah, it's same as every other day. So,
Yeah, there you go.
hey, if you're just joining us, why not subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll never miss another podcast. We'll let you know whenever we're on in any time zone where you happen to be. So just click that subscribe button, ring the notification bell real loudly, and you'll never miss another podcast. Also, if you'd like to support us monetarily, because there is a couple of dollars invested in putting these things on, and we'd appreciate your support there. There's a link in the description below. And we do these on StreamYard, and there's also a link to StreamYard below if you'd like to try it out for free. It's a pretty good deal. Also, the award winning Tom and Shane write on medium.com. So there is a link in the descriptions below to all of our articles if you'd like to check that out. And our topic today is we need bees, Shane. We need bees. And there's 2 trillion bees in the world right now. And 100 million colonies or managed beehives out there, and 20,000 bee species in the world. So, what's going on with the bees?
Well, there just seems to be an amazing quandary with regards to the dying off of certain species. The bumblebee in North America is
Mm-hmm.
basically gone.
Yeah.
It was a major pollinator for wheat and corn. Of course, those are
Mm-hmm.
important. Africa doesn't have as much of a problem because they have honeybirds. They actually have honeybirds that do the pollinating as well. But with 80% of the world's food coming from plants, it's sort of an important topic to talk about, let people know and understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But they, it seems that what you can look at that qualifies as an issue with this diminishing population of bees is genetically modified foods that came around in the late 80s, early 90s, 1988 to be specific, with Roundup and Monsanto. So it's one of those hard pressed things about it that makes it rather difficult to understand because scientists haven't been able to specifically determine. Well,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the most important things that bees create, of course, is honey. I mean, that's what they
Right.
create,
Yeah.
and it's 9,000 years old. The beverages that they ferment. I mean, honey will survive indefinitely because it doesn't break down, and if any kind of fungi is introduced to it, it ferments. So they have discovered fermented beverages from 9 to 10,000 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and they used yeast to ferment it into what was called mead, beer principally, because the water in the Nile, particularly where it first was started to be developed, was poisoning people. So that's what they drank, and of course the pharaohs provided it, their homes, their clothing, and so people would go out and build and harvest. But the great thing about the fermentation of honey is it also resulted in the adding of actual fruits as well to the mead, which started creating 3,000 years ago. Whiskey, alcohol. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's been a major part of the globe and the global economy for
Mm-hmm.
10,000 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, the bumblebees declined 89%, and it's extinct in 8 states, and more on the way apparently. So it's completely disappeared and rare in other states. So this is getting pretty serious. Some possible causes might be habitat loss. Pesticides are probably the biggest thing. Pesticides are used on the plants and things that people grow, climate change. I don't know about that, but disease, other factors. But it does seem to be a serious problem, and we're wondering because what 80% of what we eat comes from flowered plants. So
That's right. And over 90% of all the flowering plants on the planet, which it's not a small amount. There's over 100 and almost 200,000 different species of plants, including over 1,200 different type of species of edible plants. So yeah, it's relatively important. Pollination, a bee, male or female, or a worker bee will take pollen from a plant to a male or female plant, or a male plant to a female plant, and that provides the opportunity for the ultimate product of the plant, in the case of corn or wheat, to grow. So it's fascinating because when you watch this in the fall or late summer, there's these huge caravans crossing your country of bee harvesters, and they have these 18-wheeler beds with hundreds of beehives, and the farmers pay them to put them around their crops to go out and pollinate, and it's a multi-billion-dollar, $20 billion a year business just in pollinating for and that's just in the United States and Canada. That doesn't include the rest of the world. So it's a huge aspect of the economy, which is why we talk about these things, because you should know about them.
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to come up with robots that will do the pollination in the future.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, see, we'll have the robots will be walking up and down the the aisles of the food and pollinating back and forth. So
that's right. Yeah.
So I'm not worried. I'm not worried in the least about this because we'll have robots doing it in the future. So, but
Einstein said when he did some studying on bees back in the 30s that if bees start to disappear, go extinct, that within months, not years, months, man would start dying because of the results. So this is worse than global warming. I mean, they picked global warming. They should have talked about bees. Everyone loves bees. Democrats, they always miss the target, Tom.
Yeah.
They should, these guys should have picked bees to talk about.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we definitely need them. That's for sure. So, yeah, it's a growing problem, I guess, that people just it's on the back burner because walking around New York City, you don't see bees all that often, and you just don't. You go to the grocery store, here's the stuff. So what's the deal?
That's right. Exactly. And their cousins, the wasp, they also pollinate. But, one of the other most important pollinators on the planet are ants.
Yeah.
So, they're always busy looking for something like pollen, to feed their nest. And they don't know the difference between a female and a male, luckily.
Sure.
So, it ends up they'll suck it up, but it's all over their feet. In their body, so the pollen, and so then they'll climb a male and get in there and pollinate. So it's a fascinating read. I mean, I spent 8-10 hours reading all the material. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. Keith said the picture of you guys on my computer scared me. Well, it scares us too, Pete, or Keith rather. We look much better in the afternoon than we do in the morning. So
I think so.
Yeah, we gotta. I'm not even awake yet fully, so that's our problem. So thanks for watching, Keith. Appreciate it.
Well, and I just want to mention, hands up for yeast. I mean, it's a fungus. There are over 15,000 species of yeast. Mostly come from the skin of fruit. Grapes in particular, and other fruit that left to ferment, to create yeast, and so it's incredible how man has adapted. Some guy because to actually produce it takes time, right? I mean, for it to ferment.
Yeah.
But we've all seen the movies, where the the monks, were creating the mead in England and France and so forth, because that was their big job, because they were the first real, I guess you'd say, honeybee, collectors, right? Was the church, but it was really for the mead and for the, but they got the concept, from Egypt and the Romans and so on. But it's been something that's been around, and you just wow, man has such an amazing ability to adapt something, and utilize it. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's why I keep saying I'm not that worried about global warming. When you look at what the United States has done just in the past 100 years with automobiles and flight and cell phones and electricity and batteries and everything else, global warming shouldn't even be an issue, I don't think. But anyway, it seems to be. But this is much more serious because climate change might affect the bees. Some people think it's our cell phone signals are confusing bees or interfering with their their compasses as to how they find things or where they go. And then we've got the hornets that kill bumblebees.
That's right.
They got the other things going on. So yeah, but when you think of 8 states that bumblebees are extinct there, that's pretty serious.
Oh, it's huge. And, all these are food producing states that Monsanto basically has taken over with its genetic seeds, and the court cases they won back in the 70s and 80s that forced farmers to only purchase theirs. And, then farmers would use these genetically altered seeds, and some would blow into the next farmer's property when they were seeding in the spring, and then that farmer was forced by Monsanto to buy just theirs. I mean, man is insidious when he wants to adapt something and has the money politically to change the game, so to speak, within Mother Nature. And this gets back to global warming in the sense again that they're secularists. They don't, all these people that believe in global warming, they don't believe in God, or the greatness of miracle. They believe man can change the world, that man has more influence, and call it Mother Nature, call it God, call it nature.
Yeah.
And but you can actually see how something like a corporation like Monsanto can, be just incredibly harsh on the environment. And
that's true.
And they don't get anything. There's not a word said about genetically produced food.
Yeah. Well, Linda says there's a bee farm close by, and the honey is awesome and has many benefits. And yeah, it does. It's got many health benefits and all kinds of things. It's used in all kinds of products.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's an important crop of its own. It's sort of a byproduct. But I think you've read, Shane, as I have, that scientists have proved conclusively that bumblebees can't fly with their wingspan and their weight. It's impossible for bumblebees to fly. So, but somehow they do.
Well, it's sort of like watching the hummingbird, right? But the one thing we have to, I think, mention that's important is that if you're going to use honey, don't use processed honey that you buy at the store. Make sure you go to a farm within 50 miles where you live. That's a fair distance, so you'll find one. Get to know them. Buy their honey for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's fresh, it's not processed, so you get the natural benefits of it. But more importantly, it enhances your immune system, particularly people with allergies like me. That's what saved me as a child. Was my grandmother we went out and the Hutterites had fresh honey, and we'd buy it, and that's what I'd have every day with tea, and it actually helped my allergies. It reduced the aggravation and excess of allergies. So don't buy processed food like processed honey. Go and buy it at a farmer's market. You'll pay more, but it's the real thing.
Yeah. Why shortchange yourself? So
yeah, exactly.
All right. Any final thoughts on bees, Shane?
Well, it's a major part of the global market of food, and we have to realize that it's the global food market generates like $9 trillion, to global GDP, and so bees are responsible for like 2/3 of that, like $6 trillion.
Yeah.
So this is a big play.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, well, I'm assuming we've got all kinds of people working on this, trying to find out what's killing all the bees and why they uh, what the problem is. Hopefully, we'll solve that somehow, some way.
Mm-hmm.
But
If I may,
yep,
just because
sure.
this is a part of our library, it's on the record.
Mhm,
So with the Fed rate going up to 2.2 and a quarter to 2.5 yesterday, another 0.75
mhm,
raise, which we called. The recession is now double barrel. Two problems. They just passed a $52 billion chip act, which we talked about on the show
mhm.
several weeks ago, and expected that. But now Manchin's agreeing to another 700 billion, which is
Yeah.
really just it's an incredible thing. They decided to dub the 700 billion the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, which the Senate will vote on next week. I'm telling you, folks, right now this recession will get worse. By August, when they reevaluate the GDP, the loss will not be 0.9. This happens all the time. It'll be upgraded to 1.4, probably 1.5. The recession will deepen before Christmas and certainly before the election and Thanksgiving. And if they pass these two bills or anything more before the end of this year, this recession will deepen into January, February, and we may see a depression by spring. That's how bad this is. So I want it on the record because no one's talking about it.
Okay. We will talk about that more in depth on our radio show, which is on
Yes.
Saturday, 8 to 11 a.m. Mountain Time. You can listen live at kmmsam.com anywhere in the world. You don't have to join anything. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to leave any personal information of any kind. You are welcome to just tune in and listen. You can call us. You can text us, all of those things. And if you missed any of our past shows, including this one, Tom and Shane past shows are also at kmmsam.com. Click on Tom and Shane's podcast. Again, nothing to sign up for, nothing to join, nothing you have to do is just go over there and listen. So it's we've made it as simple as we possibly can
Yeah,
for you to
yeah.
do that. So
Hey, by the way, Eagleman, what temperature did you hit yesterday? We got to 110 degrees here.
no, we're nowhere near that. We're in the 80s, so we're
110, buddy,
yeah,
and that was in the shade. In the
yeah,
shade.
we're pretty comfortable here. So
Lucky you. All right.
no problem there. Hey, don't forget to subscribe, ring the notification bell. You'll always be notified when we have another podcast. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. and Mountain Time. So, but you don't have to worry about that if you subscribe and ring the notification bell, because you'll be notified whatever time zone you're in. It won't matter. We'll tell you we got a podcast coming up in an hour or 2 hours or wherever they give you a couple of warnings. So, and like us, leave a comment, because YouTube likes that kind of stuff. So we hope that you enjoyed hearing us today, and we will see you on our next podcast, and that will be coming up. It'll be coming up next Tuesday, but we're on the radio Saturday, 8 to 11, kmmsam.com. Don't miss it.